Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining me for our crafting session today. It is Thursday the 17th of November 2024. Excuse me. Sorry. I've got a dog who wants something from the other dog. My name's Jenny McCormac. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in the market town of Brackley. That's in Northamptonshire in the UK. It is Thursday evening, the 14th of November, and we are going to be using the Happy Hibiscus stamp set. This is the one that we used on Monday, and I'll show you some of the cards that we've created this week. And today I'm going to be introducing you to the embossing folder along with some of the dies. So this embossing folder comes with the dies. Hi Caroline. So we're going to be using that as our background for our card. And that's this one here. If you can see the detail, it looks better this evening than it did on Monday. So I've just popped that through the embossing folder. But what I'm going to do is stamp and cut out and emboss these flowers all in one go. And then I'm going to add in some of these lovely leaves. These are one of the dies. And let me show you some of the others. We've got this circular die here. We've got 4 little flowers, 2 leaves that cut out the leaves from the set, and also this additional detailed leaf as well, and then that lovely banner to go with it. So let me quickly show you some of the designs from this week. I think, yes, this was the one that we did live on Monday morning. You Make Me Smile. I used Blackberry Bliss and Bubble Bath for that one. And then I've got this one here in Melon Mambo and also Bubble Bath. And then these are ones that I created as we went along. This one, because I thought this one looked like the poppies, I did on Monday, but I finished with some colouring in with the Poppy Parade Blends pen. This one is Pretty Peacock, and then I've stamped it with Coastal Cabana. So those are part finished. This one, well, I was showing the different techniques that you could use just using a blending brush, for example. And then this one I did with Pumpkin Pie and Lemon Lolly, and this is Granny Apple Green for the leaves. So lots of different variations of colours. So let us crack on. So I'm going to use these die cut leaves, which are beautifully detailed. What I am going to do to those, just to make them look even more interesting, is grab a blending brush and just blend the edges. I've got a green brush here. So I hope you're well and I hope you're having a good week. Just looking for an ink pad. Oh, I can see everything but Granny Apple Green. It must be somewhere. Alright, I've got garden green, that will do the job. Okay, just grab some scratch paper. Oh, this is actually from Monday, funnily enough. And if you want to make any die cuts look a little bit more realistic, then a good way to do that is to add a little bit of ink to the edges. So I'm going to do this to 2 and leave 1 for the moment so you can see, hopefully, the difference. Just making sure there is ink on here, which there is. Now you do need to be a little bit careful if you've already got these die cut, because obviously some of these can be quite fragile. So just coming in, I am holding it on the paper just so it doesn't sort of flip up. So adding that detail on the edge, and I'll put this on a piece of plain card and you should be able to see, hopefully see the difference. You can also use a pen, or, well, I should say a round pen or pencil, or a bone folder to just gently bend these pieces as well to get a little bit more interest again, so they're not as flat. Okay, let me see if I can show you that on a piece of white plain card. So those are the two that I've coloured in, and then this one is the non-coloured. Hopefully you can see the difference in the light. And as I said, what you can do is, if you've got a circular pencil, is you can carefully bend these, so you could bend it either this way. I'll put it on this one again, it's a bit easier to see, like so. You could also bend it gently along the long side, and if you've got a bone folder, that will do. Just manipulate it a little bit, like so. So if you can see the difference now between either of those two that I've added ink, and I've also curled around my my brush. Hopefully you can see the difference. This is quite flat, even though the die is quite interesting. Hi Brenda, thanks for joining us this evening. Nice to have you on board. And Trudy, I think, might also be watching. Okay, so I've got 3 of these leaves. I'm just going to give this other one the treatment as well. So just coming in from the edges, like so. So this Happy Hibiscus stamp set and the coordinating dies and embossing folder is one of our exclusive items from online. So you can find it online, you can order it online or order through me as you would normally do, but you won't find it in a catalogue. Okay, so now I've got 3 a bit more interesting leaves to play with. Okay, I pre-embossed this particular piece with the embossing folder. This is 6 inches by 6 inches and it has lots of elements to it. If I move this away, you might be able to see some of those elements in the light. So you've got some larger flowers here, and then you've got some smaller ones, and you've got some little tiny ones, sets of 3 overlapping ones. These 3 here match the stamp set, so I'm actually going to be using those in a minute. But you can place your card in any position to get whichever elements you would like. So I've got this one here. I'm probably going to need to cut this down because I can't remember what size this is. Yes, so this is bigger than my card base, but this is going to pop onto there. Now a quick trick for you, or tip for you, if you're cutting an embossed piece out, very often when you go to cut on a trimmer in particular, more so than a guillotine. Hi Jenny, thanks for joining us. Hope you're keeping well. If you're working on a piece that you've embossed and you go to use a trimmer, very often you'll get a little jagged edge because obviously with the embossing there you've got this height difference. So what you want to do, I'm going to cut this to I think 10 centimeters. So ideally if you've got one of our trimmers or a scoreboard, before you cut is run your scoring blade up and down and then cut, and then you'll get a nice solid cut. I'm going to cut this one at 14.35 and I'm going to do it without the blade. This is quite a new blade, to be fair. So it has got a good cut, but there is a very slight, literally the tiniest amount of fibres here. So if you don't want that to occur on your card, just use your score blade first, so in this case on our trimmer, the light grey one, and then use the cutting blade. So that's a hint for you for today. So let's see, I've got a plain base white card and I've got this layer here. There is a pretty good direction to this one, only because of the way this flower is sitting. The stamens are sort of pointing upwards, but within reason you can have this almost in any direction. Depends on which bit of the embossing folder you're using. So I'm thinking, hi Vivian. Oh, hi Scott. And hi to Faith in hospital. I hope you're feeling better, Faith. So I'm thinking I've got this panel here and I've got my leaves like so, maybe one up here or maybe one down there, and then I'm going to put some of those stamped embossed flowers on top. So let's put that to one side, and I was just wondering whether I'm going to stamp them on here. I did wonder whether to stamp them onto a coloured card, but I think I'm just going to put them on here for the moment, and that will just about fit like so. So we have an outline stamp, which is those three together, and then the three infills are different, which is quite nice because it means you can then infill with different colours. And that reminds me, Scott, I loved your card that you did Monday, but I didn't take a photograph of it, and I didn't photograph Grace's ones either. So I wonder if you'd be kind enough, I don't know if Grace, she's probably gone home, but certainly if I could grab a photograph of yours, I'd really appreciate it. Oh good, I'm glad she's feeling a bit better. Right, let's see, what colours should we have? So let's go for Petunia Pop, I think, and then I've got Bubble Bath. That's not Bubble Bath, that is Pretty in Pink. Which I hope I've got here. I think I have. Okay, so let's quickly stamp the outline. And what's lovely is you can cut and emboss these at the same time. There we go. So I'm just going to stamp those sort of across the diagonal of this piece. I hope the food's okay, Faith. So those are our 3 flowers there. And let's grab the inserts. So I've got one, and get it the right way round. One that goes on there. This one. I'm looking for that knobbly bit. No. No. There it is. I think, yes. It's not an exact fit. That's better. That's more of an exact fit. There is a little bit of overlap. And then I've got this one here. Now I'm going to cut all 3. Whether I use all 3, I don't know. And I will add a sentiment as well. And let's grab, if I can find it. Pretty in pink to match those ones there. Oh, this is a brand new one. Let's open it up. So, talking about new ones, we do have a sale on at the moment that includes our ink pads and our ink refills and also our cardstock and stamps and stamp bundles. That runs till and including tomorrow evening, the 15th of November. Okay, so this is a brand new ink pad. And what I'm going to do is try it first, because sometimes when you have new ink pads they can be overfilled. So I'm going to ink it up and see, and I can tell you now that that is overfilled because there's a little bit of foaming on the top because there's so much ink on there. Can you see how blurry that is? Okay, so I don't want that. I want a nice crisp image. So all I'm going to do is grab a bone folder or a block. I've got a block to hand. Let me lend Woody out. Go. Thank you. Let's keep it quiet in here. So I'm just going to move this ink. Can you see the difference? I think it's pretty obvious from there, isn't it? Sometimes it's not as obvious. So I'm going to move the ink across. Now if you've got one that's really inky, you can put a piece of kitchen roll on it, put kitchen towel. But in general, all you need to do is just move it out of the way. It will settle back in, so you're not wasting any ink this way. And then let's try that again. And I'll do this one next to it. I know it's not a pristine piece of paper, but so can you see the difference? This is the one exactly as when I opened it, and this is it with me moving the ink across. So I'm going to position those two up there so I know which way roughly they go. This one's a bit easier to see. So let's pop that on there. So there's one. There we go. And let's pop the little one on there. That's quite easy to see which way it goes. Like that. and then this one here. It's a bit tight on that block. I've just turned this now, haven't I? There we go. So, inking it up. It's got to bring it a little bit closer so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3 images. What I'm going to do now is pop that through the embossing folder and cut it at the same time. So here's the embossing folder that I used earlier for this piece here. And then let me move this out of the way. So I've got to find them. Here they are. So this die fits around those 3 flowers really nicely. Now what you can do, if you wish, is put a piece of masking tape or something on there just to hold that in place, which I'm just going to do, only because I'm going to sort of move this around, so I want you to be able to see where it is. Okay, so this is effectively blade side up, like so. That's going to go through, and then what I'm going to do is position this against that. So if I turn it over, should be able to see that through the, hopefully you can see that through the embossing folder. Just going to take a minute to line that up, like so, and then again you can put, nobody move, a little bit of tape on that as well. Now if you are just die cutting the embossed image and not a stamped image, you wouldn't need to do that. You could just put your piece of card in. So this now is going to cut that out and emboss it. So I'm just going to do that. And the only bits I need for my machine are my base plate and our thick embossing folder. And make sure that you always put your embossing folder in with the, what do you call that? The fold. I can't know what it's called. Anyway, the folded part at the front as it goes in. The hinge. That's the word. There we go. Okay. So now we've got, so I just peel those away. I can leave that in there for the minute. Just don't leave it in if you don't want it cut out. So I think, I don't know how difficult that is for you to see, but it's actually embossed all those tiny little flowers and all the veins of the leaf. I'm not sure how much of that you can pick out. And there's that one, you can see those 5 little petals in there, and the other one is still in the folder. There it is. Okay, so those are now cut and embossed. So what I'm going to do is, none of this is stuck down, but I'm going to pop that onto there. And then I'm going to add my flowers, like so. I've got my leaf, like that, something like that. Really pretty. Now if you want to, and something that Caroline did a really good job of on Tuesday, you can use a blending brush and add more detail to this. if you didn't want to stamp this, you could cut this out in coloured card and use a blending brush to add more colour. So the nice thing about this is there's so many different ways that you can use it. Now I wanted to put a sentiment onto here, but I'm not sure I've got enough room. Maybe I don't need all of the maybe I don't need all of the flowers, but let's have a look. Maybe that way, and that one. And remember, we added the detail with a brush, a blending brush, Scott's favourite, not. Guess I could have that sort of tucked in there, like that, and then the detail in here, something like that. So I could get away with my sentiment at the top. Let me lift that up for you. I could have a larger piece, but I didn't want to cover all of this, really. But what I might do is use a little bit of that petunia pop around the edges of this to define it, possibly around there as well. So let's do that, and then I'll pop a sentiment on, and we're good to go. So do let me know what you've been up to today. I had a nice long walk with Woody down through the farmer's fields and round the back. It was really lovely. Find a pink blending brush. I've got every colour except pink. Might work with my purple brush. Depends on how much purple I've got on there. Okay. So this is Petunia Pop, which is the same colour as the ink I used. So I'm just going to bring this in. I'm not going to add a lot of detail, just want to bring in that extra little bit of colour. You can see how it's picking up the embossed element. And what you can do is something we did a little while ago, was cut a piece of white card and emboss it, and then use either the blending brushes on particular elements, or you could use blends pens and colour it in as a panel. Okay, just going to do this little bit across here, and the bottom. So I'm just looking for something to show Caroline while I remember. Been working on that. I know Caroline loves sunflowers, and on the kit I showed on Wednesday, the colouring kit, I did this one here, this card, and I've just started. I started on the sunflower just because it's so pretty. So that's one of the new kits. Right, sorry, I just needed to do that while I remembered. Okay, so a little bit of colouring around those edges, like so, and that will then sort of bring that colour in. Okay, let's stamp a sentiment onto here. Let's just see if I've got a small thanks. I put the stamp set down. Here it is. So there's a thanks for being so kind. I wonder if I can just get the thanks on its own at the top. Let's try it and see. So pop this on a block and let's get it straight. Sort of straight. Not that it matters really, because I'm not going to do all of it. So I can either use a Stampin' Up marker to colour that in, or I can ink up as much as I want and then get rid of any extra, or I can use a post-it note to cover that element up. And of course I can't see a post-it note, but I know I have some. Let's see, I've got some in here. There we go. You could also use some washi tape. Why don't I do that? Hi Tracy. Ah, thank you for my little sunflower. Tracy, I hope you're keeping well. Long time no see. We've missed you. No doubt you're still busy with all your other crafting, crochet and knitting and crochet mainly, I seem to remember. Right, just want to tear this bit off. Pop it there. I'm going to make it narrower. Sorry, so this is just a little bit of washi tape, and I'm going to use that to cover up the rest of that sentiment, because I just want the thanks from this that says thanks for being so kind. So just try it and see. Oh, I'm just going to go for it. Don't forget to take that off though. And I think I'm going to try this top left, and then if I've got any odd bits I can cover those with flowers. There we go. So there's my thanks. Okay, so we can put these together. So that's going to be my layer onto there. There it is. I'm afraid my desk is rather coated with layers of crafting supplies, and that's just finished. Okay, let's see. So we'll pop this on here, like so. Then I've got my thanks, and I'm going to position that sort of offset to the right and slightly high, and I'm going to pop that on, I think, with dimensionals. Oh, I don't need a million ones. There we go. Can't believe it's Friday tomorrow. Just not right, is it? And halfway through November as well. Dear dear. Okay. I'm at a Christmas fair on Saturday. If anybody local is around, that's just outside of Evenley at the Barn Owl farm shop. I think I've been there for the last, I want to say 3 years. It's a really nice location, really good event. Okay, these are our flowers, hibiscus flowers that have been cut and stamped and embossed. That's the back of it, if you can see the back. So let's see. where these are going to go. Two, three, something like that, and then maybe I'll have get in there. Either that, or I'll put two of those leaves together. Not quite decided. I'll just see how it goes together. Okay, so we'll put the flowers on first. Let me find some adhesive. Don't hold out much hope for this one. It's been sat in my bag with the top not fitted and the wrong way around. No, it's got some. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one in the corner. So remember, if it's got some embossing on, you'll need to add sufficient glue for it to hold the height of the embossing. Let's pop that one on there. And then let's have, I'll tuck that one under a little bit and put it on with dimensionals, or maybe put it on the top. Put it on the top. So I'm going to put my dimensionals on here. 2. Like that. And I'm going to pop 2 under there just to give it some support, because it's basically 2 dimensionals high. So I'm just going to double stack those and put it underneath that petal there. There we go. So that's all nicely supported. So this is flat on this base layer here. This is effectively double height. And then we've got the little one and some leaves. So let's do some leaves next. So let's just pop that on with some wet glue. And tuck that one underneath there. And with those leaves that we die cut, I used a blending brush and some green ink, and then I also used a pencil to bend them round to give them a little bit of detail. Obviously in the envelope they are going to flatten a little bit. Right, let's pop this one down there. So, like that, and then I'm just going to tuck it in. So I'm not going to put this one on dimensionals, just adding a little bit of glue. So we'll be making the other cards at the Lounge Cafe Bar in Brackley tomorrow, if you missed out earlier this week. Let's see, looks fairly well balanced, doesn't it? Like so. Or maybe that's better. Oh no, it's too far over to the right. In there maybe, like so. Yeah. Okay, that's going to go behind. the panel. And then a couple of things left to do. One is to stamp the inside of the card with one of our flowers, and maybe add a little bit of bling, and then we are done. So that's it so far. Hopefully you can see that. I'm sitting at an odd angle. I suddenly realised that's why it all looks slightly weird. Okay, we'll take the inside of the card, and let's just take the inner one of those. Bit of clean paper behind. I'm going to stamp that in Pretty in Pink. So remember, we opened this as a brand new ink pad, and you can see that that ink is already moving back in. So again, I'm just going to move it to one side like that. Ink this up and check I've got it in the right direction, like that, like so. There we are, that's on the inside. And then finally I'm just going to add a little bit of bling, and before I started, oh, there we go, I've got some bling here with that lovely pink. There we go. And these are called adhesive backed shiny sequins. They were in the annual catalogue, I believe. So we've got yellows, we've got almost like a see-through yellow, and then a slightly orangey one, and that's actually slightly green. Grab a pokey tool, if I could see it, and then just add. So these are 2 different sizes, 4 different colours. So let's have large one there. A small one. And a small one here, I think. They'll stand out nicely on the white. Could put it on the pink, could put it in the middle. Somebody did that, that looked very effective. So there we go, there is our finished card. Try and get it straight for the camera, apologies. There it is. So that's using a Happy Hibiscus stamp set with the matching dies, which cuts out the flowers, and the embossing folder, which does this embossing in the background and embosses the flowers. And then also the leaves are cut out with the dies, and I just did a little bit extra with garden green ink on my blending brush, and for this edge here I used Petunia Pop and blending brush. Thank you, Caroline. Very sweet, isn't it? I don't think I have Petunia Pop or Pretty in Pink ribbon. Otherwise I might have added a little bit of ribbon here. I could use white and then colour that in, either with ribbon or baker's twine. I think it's probably busy enough as it is. And also I don't want to cover up the elements that you can see around here. So there we go. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully you can see that okay. Now I've got it straight. I realised that my camera isn't straight, which doesn't help. So there we go, that's the end of our session for this evening. Thank you so much. This is what we'll be doing tomorrow. So if you missed us in the week at Coffee and Card, you can join us in person tomorrow at the Lounge Cafe Bar. That's the one that used to be called Hummingbirds. Thank you, Brenda. So I hope you have a great evening, what's left of it, if you're watching live. If you're watching on replay, then have a great day ahead, afternoon or evening. And just a reminder that we do have a sale on at the minute, so if you need to stock up on cardstock, inks, designer series paper from the annual catalogue, that's 20% off, and then stamp bundles are additional 10% off, so they're 20% off as well. Or if you need any refills for your inks, then just let me know. I will be ordering again tomorrow. That's Friday evening. That's the last day of the sale. You can hop onto GeminiCrafts.co.uk and you'll find a button on the right hand side that will take you to the sale. And also you can combine that with anything else if you need it. And our kit for the week is this one here. Nature's Paintings, that has 24 fabulous images, 12 different images, 2 of each, and if you love colouring, then this is a perfect kit to buy. It doesn't make cards. I've made these into cards, but you do get 24 watercolouring sheets plus 8 watercolour pencils and a water painter. So if you know somebody who loves watercolouring, colouring in general, because you can just use blends pens, for example, it's not what I've done with this one, and I think this is a combination, some blends pens and some watercolour pencils, then look out for that kit. That's currently available, and that's at £24. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great week and weekend if you're watching at the end of the week, and we'll be back on Monday morning. You can find me at Barnell Nurseries on Saturday the 16th of November, and I look forward to crafting with you again next week with our latest stamp set of the week, and we'll be back for Christmas designs next week. Thank you so much, everyone. Do take care. Thanks for joining me in person. Tracy, Caroline, Brenda, and Vivian, Scott, Faith, and anybody else. Oh, Jenny, if you're still watching. So anybody who's joined us live. And obviously, if I don't have a connection with you on Facebook, it may not show your name. So apologies if I haven't called your name out. You can always just pop a comment in, and I'll know who's watching next time. Thanks so much, everyone. Do take care, and bye for now.